5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for February 7th, 2025. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Grand Theft Auto 6 is still coming out this year. Rocksteady is back working on single-player Batman, and the Wonder Woman game is in turmoil. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Tamoor Hussain, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
Batman!
Yeah, there he is. He's Batman. You're wearing a Gin garment.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Gin garment.
I've
been wearing this a lot to the point where I definitely should have washed it at least 2 days ago and stopped wearing it. But like I'm just like too comfy. It's too cold. I don't smell. I sweat a lot, but my sweat doesn't smell, which is very weird. I don't know if that's an issue.
I've never been around Tam and thought this man smells in any negative way. So
I don't know.
You sound like a crazy person, but it's been true.
Yeah,
it's always been true.
I don't know how I've got away with this, but people have told me this. Like I've come back from the gym sweating, and they're like, "How are you not stinky?" And I'm just like, I have no idea, man. I don't know.
Cheating.
So I'm comfortable with wearing this for at least 6 days.
I mean, there's like a chart, right? And it's the more comfortable the garment, the less frequently you need to wash it. Come on. Like
I did wash, so this is supposed to be oversized. I washed it one time and it shrank, and I was like, never again. I'm not washing this ever again. This is gonna be stinky.
Yeah, I have the stuff that I one time I went through the washer and I'm like, is the print on it fading a little bit already? And then I get paranoid. Mostly just don't wear them a lot, and so yeah, kind of defeats the purpose. I think I need a new washing machine. I think my washing machine is eating my Gin garments, and I need to do something about that. Yeah, you think you'd be tough enough to stand up to it, but apparently not. Tam, you've been traveling a lot already this year.
Yeah.
And have you felt like, hey, you got your footing with playing some games or anything like that? Got anything like happening right now that you're super into? Because I feel like I'm just kind of getting my footing on that.
I still haven't, like, I don't think I've not played nearly as much games as I want to be playing.
Yeah.
Or not played nearly as much of the games. I'm playing the game, but I'm not playing enough of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is very, very annoying. I play because I try and play games to when reviews are coming in. I want to make sure that I've got a good grasp of them, so I can check reviews and stuff like that. But I always want to go back to some games. I just haven't had the chance to go back to, like Kingdom Come, for example.
Right, same.
Yeah, and a few other games. But I'm hoping I'm off to a little more traveling this weekend, but I'm hoping I can get a couple of days of decent, poop sock gaming in, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. It's the only way to do it. And then, of course, every time you're on the show, it feels like some more stuff happens with Bloodborne. There was all those DMCAs, and then Katakawa says Sony's going to publish some of their games. You feeling any type of way?
I'm over it. I just like
they want you to not be over it, I think, but
yeah, they want me to not. I've had enough. I saw the DMCA stuff. I'm just hoping that they don't come for my boy from Soft Serve, who's out there still modding things and cleaning up the way From Software games look and making them nice and shiny. But I expect that they'll come soon. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be like, the Bloodborne. Maybe it's everyone's on copium right now, where they're like, maybe this means something.
Yeah, totally.
And you know what? They're going to announce that they're making like a Bloodborne coloring pencil set or something like that, and everyone's going to be like, "No, for fuck's sake!"
Yep. Hey, listen, I'll buy it. Sure, why not?
Yeah. Bloodborne Happy Meal partnership with McDonald's. Everything's rotten.
Yeah, any minute. That's pretty good, actually. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Grand Theft Auto 6 is on track to release in fall 2025, Take-Two says. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Grand Theft Auto 6 is still on track to release this year, Take-Two says, during an investor presentation discussing its Q3 earnings for the financial year of 2025. The publisher confirmed that the game is still listed as launching fall of calendar 2025. It also says Borderlands 4 is still planned to release later this year. Take-Two hasn't given any more concrete release dates for either game, however, which may prove frustrating for other publishers who are reportedly deciding not to nail down release dates for their own products so as not to clash with the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. I think, Tam, that they probably are still definitely planning to get this game out this year. Right now, also, it's like, even if they're not 100% sure, it's a bit early. They have some time, and if they feel like there's a chance they can get it out, I'm sure that's what they want. I think this game slips anymore. The furthest it slips is into very early 2026. So I really do feel like we're running up to this game actually coming out now, right?
I think that, yeah. I personally believe it'll slip into early 2020.
I do too.
6. I mean, like, they're not gonna come to a investor call and it'll be like, we're gonna delay this bad boy.
Yep.
How you feel about that?
I mean, especially not when, like, it's this is the report for Q3 of their fiscal year. This game will come out in the next fiscal year, so they don't even really have to say much about this game yet. Next time, maybe they have to like say a little bit more. But you're right. Like, even if it does slip into early 2026, that would still be their next fiscal year. So they don't have to start warning investors about anything if there is reason to panic, which they're implying there isn't, though.
Yeah, and like they said, they have Borderlands planned for this year, right? And Borderlands is a IP that, for better or for worse, it does gangbusting numbers. Well. Not GTA numbers, but good enough or high enough that they could, just kind of rely on that to do the heavy lifting for the financials to a degree, which means it's much more palatable to them if, they decide, if someone comes along and is like, hey, we want to move this into next year. If it was a case of we have nothing else, we cannot do that, that would make sense. But they could go, we're going to make $1 trillion off this thing. So let's just move it the way they want to move it. And we have Borderlands, which will pick up some of that slack. So we're good. And then, they have other smaller games that they'll probably be publishing. If they did this, it would be the least, if they delay, it would be the least surprising thing. And probably the most beneficial thing for them as well.
Yeah. And it's, these massive games, it's pretty usual. It's standard for them to get like that one last delay. And right now they're planning late in the year, so a delay probably could push it to early next year. But I guess, it's worth pointing out that they kind of internally delayed it as far as we're aware, because this game's revenue was going to be reported. They put it in their outlook for the current fiscal year that we're in right now, and then they basically a couple earnings reports ago said, okay, actually we're moving that stuff out because some stuff has changed. And then after that they said, and then Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out later in 2025. So we kind of know that they shifted that game around previously internally before they announced any date or kind of talked about the game in any public way previously. So I guess it's already had a big delay. And I do think that they are most of the way there. Like, again, this is not going to be one of these delays that puts it into late 2026. So chance it does come out this year. And as you pointed out, Take-Two has a lot else going on this year. I mean, they did just release Civilization 7. I suppose that's in early access, but it's coming out this week. Mafia: The Old Country is coming out in summer. And then they said Borderlands 4 is coming this year as well. And this is all in the calendar year. So before the end of December is when they're promising all of that. So they're talking a big game to investors. And I think they really, really want to hit that if possible. So
that'll be fine. My question for you is, what's after GTA? Are we doing another Red Dead, or are we bullying it up, or what?
Yeah, I mean, God, I think they should take the chance to do bully, but I don't know if they think that way. I mean, what it really is a lot of support for GTA Online for the next several years, right? That's
absolutely,
yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like, do I even want to start talking myself up into like what else they could be doing? they'll do another Red Dead, right? I mean, they'll get around to that.
Eventually,
yes,
yeah.
eventually. I don't think they're rushing to it or anything like that. But yeah, I think there's a chance they could try to like squeak something else in there. It's just, of course, these days, a major developer like that trying to squeak another game in, we're talking 5, 6, 7 years of development, and maybe that is too much of an opportunity cost wasted spent on something like Bully when they're like, well, we could be spending that time on more GTA stuff and then Red Dead. So we'll see. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I would love for them to do Bully, or even a new IP, or something. I mean, new IPs doesn't seem super likely, but I would love for them to do Bully. And I feel like of all the developers, I mean, like, they could make anything, and it would probably sell extremely well, at least to begin with. Like, they would have to put out a series of duds before anyone goes, maybe we shouldn't be buying games, that they put out without considering them too hard.
Yeah, and they just like have such high budgets that's like it's going to look shiny compared to every other game by default because they just spend so much time and money on their games.
Yep, exactly. I would love to see another Bully. I think it could be really, really cool, and it lets them. I feel like Bully is like a very different type of game. Like, it's a little more contained. It's not as like vast as the GTA games tend to be. So it could be them like flexing some, technical skills as well and that kind of stuff.
Right. Like, I think there's something to be said for, okay, we're going to make a whole open world, sure, but then let's take that same level of depth and apply it to just like one city block that contains a school and make that like the deepest simulation possible and then let people mess around with that. You could see that being very, I don't know. I would like that a lot. I think it's something like the Hitman series was doing really well. So, hey, we're just going to take this one building and give you a lot to do in there. And I would like to see Rockstar's take on one little city block that they just go throw everything into.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move over to some stories that broke earlier this morning. Rocksteady is back working on a single-player Batman game, it is claimed. Not too surprising. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC, by way of Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. Rocksteady Studios is working on a Batman game, it's claimed, according to Bloomberg, as part of a report explaining what each of Warner Brothers Games studios is currently working on. It's claimed that the studio, which made its name with the Batman Arkham franchise, is going back to work on the Batman license. Rocksteady is looking to return to Batman for a single-player game, but according to people familiar with the timeline, the new project is years away from landing, the publication states. Rocksteady Studios' last game, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, was a commercial and critical failure. Rocksteady Studios suffered layoffs earlier this year, making it the second time in recent months the company has undergone job losses. It was reported last September that numerous Rocksteady employees had been made redundant over the previous month, including its QA department, being more than halved from 33 staff to 15. As the latest title from the studio behind the celebrated Batman Arkham franchise, Suicide Squad was once one of the industry's most highly anticipated games, but that didn't work out. Okay. I mean, I think fair to just assume this at a certain point, but now basically confirmed. This is the move. If you're them, you kind of go back, you go to ground, right? If you are under assault and you put out something that makes you feel like, okay, we're panicking, we got to figure out what we can do. A new Batman single player game makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense. This is going back to the thing that they're known for. I think the issue now, not issue, is like the concern is people. The tumultuous nature of Suicide Squad put a big spotlight on them as a studio, and over the course of the process, people who probably ordinarily wouldn't have paid attention to who's there and who's leaving probably have paid attention. So I think folks are a little more aware of what the state of Rocksteady is right now, where, I don't think Sefton's there anymore.
That's
like
right.
there's some key Batman creatives that are no longer there. That's not to say they can't make a good Batman game. I have faith in them as a studio to make that, but I think there's going to be a little more scrutiny. And I would say that my faith isn't like unimpeachable. I'm slightly concerned, but there's a bunch of people there who probably deserved a shot a long time ago and may have some good ideas that are going to finally get the opportunity to make the thing that they want, because Suicide Squad damn sure wasn't what they wanted to do. You just know that inside and out.
When do you think we see this game? I mean, right now, 2025, they're probably just really getting started. Games take forever now. It has to live up to the Batman Arkham legacy, so it's gotta be real good. Can't come in half baked.
No.
When do you think we see it?
I think that it's probably like at least 3 or 4 years away, maybe more. And like I'm not 100% confident that we'll make it to release, if you know what I mean. Like I hope so, but the economics of making a game are so unpredictable right now. The kind of appetite for making games changes, especially at a company like Warner Brothers. Like right now, they might be in on games because, Mortal Kombat does well for them and Batman has previously done well for them. But
Harry Potter did very well.
Yeah, Harry Potter did with them. It's also the kind of company that, regardless of how well games are doing and how invested they are, it's not their main business. And any sort of like minor bump in the road could be a potential bump that has them just killing off their entire game business.
Yeah, they feel the drag on gaming harder than they would feel. Like movies, they can't give up movies, right? You're right. So if there's a drag on games, they're like, well, why are we even doing this?
Yeah. And like, Zaslav isn't not known for making the most,
not a visionary,
consumer friendly kind of decisions. Not really a visionary. He's a numbers man that will, if he gets him like a 1% better numbers, he will kill everything to make that happen. So I hope so. I would love for Rocksteady to, restore its former glory. It's a British studio, so I'm super invested in that. They're working on probably one of my favorite IPs of all time.
That's right.
Love Batman. So I would love to see them come back with a good Batman game. I do wonder what it is. Maybe that Damian Wayne game that they originally had knocking about, I hope.
Yep.
Or Batman Beyond.
Yeah, I feel I'm like, we talked about Batman Beyond previously. It's like, hey, that's what they should go do, I think. And then someone reached out to me. It was like, well, whatever they're working on, it's not Batman Beyond. Don't worry about that.
No, I don't think a Batman Beyond game will ever be made.
Yep.
People, you say the words Bruce Wayne, people go Batman. You say the word Terry McGinnis and people go drunken man at a bar, question mark?
Yeah. Is that like a television lawyer? Like what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm Terry McGinnis and I'll fight for you.
Yeah. I'm Terry McGinnis, Retro Game Core. Sadly, it is, the kind of Beyond universe is isolated to the hardcore audience, the people who really cared about that kind of stuff. And I think it's only really going to manifest in certain places, like, new comic book series.
Or they take small little elements of that and use it in their own way. And it's like, okay, we see how you're inspired by Batman Beyond.
I think best case scenario pathway to a Batman Beyond game is putting out a Batman game with Bruce or more recognizable characters and starting to lay the kind of foundations and the breadcrumbs to a Terry McGinnis game where, you have a file in the cave that says Terry McGinnis on it. And it says something about keeping an eye on this kid. Yeah. And eventually, the next game, maybe 2 games down the line, they're like, Bruce is old now, but we've got that guy who you've been hearing references to constantly.
You said it, but like WB's interest in this, I mean, we've known for years. We've heard the stories repeatedly. Warner Brothers trying to sell its gaming division, can't find a buyer. That has not just happened once at this point. It's been 2 or 3 times, and no one wants to buy it. So we know Warner Brothers' interest only goes so far into gaming, and really right now it seems mostly disinterested and kind of just hates the cost of these things, regardless of the success they might have had with anything. So, yep, the 4, 5, 6 years it might take to make a Batman game. Who knows?
Anything could happen.
Anything can happen, and who knows what
Batman could get canceled in that time.
That's right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Honestly, by the time the game comes out, isn't there a strong chance Batman will be in the public domain? Is Batman in the public domain in like 2031 or something like that?
That is never happening. It's zero chance that happens.
Listen, if it happened to Steamboat Willie / Mickey Mouse,
listen,
it'll
no one
happen
gives
to
a
anything.
fuck about Steamboat Willie.
Okay,
no
well,
one knows
I
who
won't know.
Steamboat Willie is.
You're right. I'm not
unless
gonna argue
you're old and graying. Like no one knows who Steamboat. You think
Mickey Mouse ain't shit.
The laws around public use copyright will be changed before Batman gets. They could be changed. I wouldn't be surprised if they are changed because Batman could become like a publicly available.
I was with you until like if Disney can't. If well, okay. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's what happened with Disney is they were responsible for the law changing previously, and everyone was like, you know, fuck you, Disney. Like, how do you have this much power? And so they got afraid to wield it. Like when the expiration did come up. Now we're in a kind of a different place with how corporations care about what we think about them. So you're right. Maybe this is a different situation, and they could extend it once again.
Yeah, I would be extremely surprised if Batman goes into public domain, because let me tell you, I want to be writing some stories if that happens, and they are gonna be disgusted.
Yeah. Well, listen, if it's a parody story involving lots of terrible sex acts, you can already write that. Don't worry, that's transformative.
True. That no, I don't need to do that. Other people are taking care of that.
Yeah, they got your back there. All right, we're sticking with Warner Brothers. Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman game, has reportedly been rebooted and is still years away. This is from Jordan Miller at VGC as well. WB's Wonder Woman game is years away from release, according to a new report. Wonder Woman, which is being developed by Monolith Productions, will use the Nemesis system from their acclaimed pair of Lord of the Rings games released during the last generation. The game was announced in 2021 at the Game Awards.
They said acclaimed pair?
Yes.
I'm not sure about that one, Chief.
Well,
let's try, though. I respect
Jordan
the
Miller
try.
Sneaking that in. The number one. Number one Shadow of Mordor 2 fan. I can't remember the name of that game.
Shadow of War.
Oh my god.
Now Mordor was fantastic. War was like, what is this, man?
Yeah. Now, according to Bloomberg, the project has been rebooted last year and has switched directors. One of the company's biggest bets in development, a video game based on Wonder Woman, has struggled to coalesce, according to people familiar with the project. Early last year, it was rebooted, and switched directors. The game has already cost more than $100 million, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing non-public information, and is still years away from release if it ever makes it to market. Elsewhere in the report, it's claimed that both Harry Potter, Quidditch Champions, and Multiverses flopped. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a single human being talk about that Quidditch game. So Warner Brothers, man, they have some real misses and they've got some big hits for sure. And then they have a lot of big projects in the works that are years away. Some of them have been in development since 2021. Basically, it breaks down to here, Tam. Warner Brothers doesn't have any major games coming out for the next 2 years because of stuff like this. And now we're like wondering if this Wonder Woman game ever actually comes out.
Again, I think it's subject to the same kind of whims of corporate whims as potentially a Batman game could. Like, they have nothing coming out. You're right. They could either, stay the course and let Monolith make this game, which stays completely unproven with a character that has some appeal, but is quickly diminishing. Like, I feel like, firstly, Gal Gadot has done irreparable damage to the DC universe with her absolutely dogshit acting. So that character, people are like, but if you've been reading the comics, then maybe you have a little bit more interest in Wonder Woman, or you watch, I don't know, you accidentally stumble your way into watching Justice League Unlimited on Max or something like that. But Wonder Woman isn't a very exposed to the public character, if you know what I mean. The comics are fantastic, but everything else outside of that, she don't exist. Homies, like, what? Who is this for? So there is I love the DC universe, so I would love to play this. I do wonder if at a certain point soon, the next bump in the road for this development cycle, someone goes, does anyone actually care about this character in the video game world? And then that's the kind of like the pond, the stone in the pond that results in, this game
Right, and that's
it's
upon
cancelled.
already being that has been severely disturbed by Suicide Squad, right?
Exactly.
Where they're like, hey, we've been through this already. We've greenlit a game because a movie did really well, and then we put out a sequel, and the sequel was, in that case, was actually better, but was less well received, but just because for a bunch of reasons. But people felt burned by the first Suicide Squad, and it's like, no one cares about Suicide Squad.
Did you say the second Wonder Woman movie?
No, the second Suicide Squad movie in that case. The second
gotcha.
Wonder Woman movie, Tam, literally, I find that movie vile. I could not watch that.
Is a war crime.
It is so bad.
It is atrocious.
Yes. I feel
the first
like
one is pretty bad.
Like when I was watching it, I was trying to watch it. I was like, I gave it a real shot. I had nothing against Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman movie is fine. I'm sitting down to watch the second one, and I'm feeling like actually repulsed by it, and I had to turn it off about 40 minutes in.
I watched that one. I watched a little bit of that one. I was like, I cannot do this to myself. I respect myself just enough to stop this.
Yeah.
The first one I watched all the way through, and I was like, that was gross and terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had its moments, but like I was just like, why do they do this? Why do they do this? The last, like, I can't remember what the last good DC Universe movie was. Like, it might genuinely be like Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was at least fun.
Birds of Prey is fun.
Maybe is that Suicide Squad?
Yeah, Suicide Squad. The second one is very good. There had to be one recently that did all right.
I don't count like The Batman because The Batman is not really in that same universe.
DCEU.
Also,
okay.
I love The Batman. I think it's I've seen it many, many times. It's also not a particularly good movie. Like, I think it's got a lot going for it.
Yep.
El Rata Alada is one of the stupidest things I have ever experienced in all my years as someone who can read words and is a Batman fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fucking hell, like, that is some stupid ass shit. World's greatest detective. Embarrassing. I've seen that movie many times. I love it. I think I own it on Blu-ray. I've seen it with a live orchestra. It's got good vibes.
Yes.
The El Rata Alada is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I think I am fully where you're at with that, where it's like, that's a movie I'm fine watching and I enjoy it in some ways, but when I assess it as a film, it comes up short in a lot of ways. Either way, what we're saying is, people have lost interest in Wonder Woman compared to the zenith it was at when that first movie came out. Same thing happened with Suicide Squad, and now we saw what happened with Suicide Squad. You're right. If these pebbles get thrown in this pond over and over again for this game, eventually they're just gonna, go home, and they're not gonna see this thing through.
They'll take this as far as it can go, and if it gets canceled, they'll just swap it out for the Xena Warrior Princess license.
Okay.
And as we know, Xena Warrior Princess is perennially popular. Everyone loves Xena Warrior Princess.
Never declined. That Xena Warrior Princess game for GameCube, that's something.
Incredible.
Yep.
Everyone loves Xena and Gabrielle and other characters in that show.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell.
Jockster the mighty Bruce Campbell.
Uh-huh. What's his name's Ivan Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good. Oh yeah, Carl Urban's in there. Okay.
I watched a lot. I think I've seen every episode of Xena Warrior Princess. So
I always have an urge to go back to watch that era of TV.
It's a good show.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. All right. You know what? We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about, that Nintendo patent that confirmed that thing's going to work as a mouse. We'll talk about that right after this. All right. We're back. We're getting right back into it. And here we are with Nintendo
I cannot hear a thing you're saying.
Really? Really? Hello? Hi, Tam. You can't hear me. I think I'm lighting up in Discord. You got your ears?
I cannot hear you.
You really can't hear me? I can hear you. All right. Let's see here. I'm not sure what to do about this, Tam. Leave and come back, maybe? All right. Let's see if he's in chat. Leave and come back.
Oh, wait. You're back.
Okay. All right. I have no idea what happened there, Tam.
No idea. You're back. I said some absolutely disgusting shit about Xena Warrior Princess, so it's probably best that.
Okay. Well, we could hear you the entire time is the thing.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Nintendo patent application seems to confirm Switch 2 Joy-Con feature. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Earlier this year, Nintendo debuted a brief first look at Switch 2, which didn't offer many details about the new console. However, there was a moment in the teaser video where the next generation of Joy-Cons appeared to move over a flat surface like a mouse. Now, a Japanese patent application filed in August 2023 appears to confirm that the Joy-Cons will have mouse capabilities, or at least that Nintendo patented that idea. The application was publicly revealed on February 6th, and it includes an early schematic for the new Joy-Con, which it describes as the input device. The patent also states that it has a sensor for mouse operation, which functions in a similar way that normal mice work with computers. I think at this point, most people have looked at that trailer, looked at the early rumors, and accepted that this is probably happening. But this all but confirms it. Nintendo will likely show off some of the functionality for themselves when we get to that Switch or that April 2nd Switch 2 event, the Nintendo Direct at that point. But yeah, it looks like this is real, and I'm getting more excited about it because I think this is a good sort of zone for a Nintendo gimmick.
I do have one question, though. Yeah. Why?
Well, because Nintendo's always feels it feels it's
Why
necessary.
Are they doing this?
Well, they want to have a gimmick. They want to have something. They want to separate themselves a little bit. And
no one's going to play Football Manager on your fucking console or Civ or whatever it may be.
Well,
just give us Metroid Prime and shut up.
Well, okay. Hopefully they do give us Metroid Prime. If this is the reason we don't get Metroid Prime 4, I will be deeply upset, of course. But a lot of people do play Civ 6 on Switch. I don't know if those people would switch over to the mouse, though, because I think you can already plug in a PC mouse via USB into a Switch and play some games like that with that method. So that's been there. I think what this really is, Tam, is there will be 3 to 7 Nintendo published first-party games from their weird studios that are along the lines of Mario Paint and Game Maker Garage.
If this results in a Mario Paint game, I take everything I have said and will say about this mouse thing back.
Yeah, if they make some real weird dumb stuff like the suite of art games for the 64 DD,
or like the cardboard boxes that you put together to play video games.
You mean my Labo?
I'm sorry. I am sorry. Okay, what the were they doing?
You mean they were raising up a new generation of STEM lovers, Tam? STEM has a lot to do with cardboard.
Genuinely for 2 months. 2 months, that thing was about, and the amount of cardboard bullshit that's probably knocking around the earth because of them trying to make a backpack.
Yeah. I had the piano. I did that one. I did a few of them at this point, but building that piano was a lot of fun. And eventually I did have to throw it out, and it made me feel bad because it's I've spent so much time working on this. But I
created a disposable video game.
Yeah, okay. When you put it like that.
They made that shit knowing that it was gonna get chucked away. It has no durability. And they're not going to support it beyond a couple months. That's wild.
Well, I don't want them to release expansion cardboard, Tam. That's crazy. Don't do that.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. At least Let's Tap was $1. And you could just tap it.
Okay.
Was that called Tap?
One, two switch? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, there's that one game where you put the Wii remote on the box and then tap the box and... What the fuck was that horrifying thing called again?
Let's Tap for the Wii. Let's Tap on Wii. Okay, yes.
That's what I said, Let's Tap, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I didn't know you were talking about that, the Wii game. Okay, yes.
Game of cred reinstated.
Let's bring that back, actually. That sounds like fun.
And also, if I remember correctly, they didn't give you that stupid-ass box. They were like, you play this with the box, but I'm giving you the box.
You had to provide your own. Of course you did. You asked why. The answer is just Nintendo. I mean, you just gave all the reasons Nintendo's going to do this because they've done stuff like Labo in the past.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, Tam. You've been hit with the Fuddy Duddy. That's usually exclusively reserved for Mike Minotti. How does that make you feel?
I don't know what I should take away from this. I think if it's in response to my thinking about Labo, I stand by.
You're proud of it. Yeah.
I'm proud of being a fuddy-duddy, Also, using the phrase fuddy-duddy, it automatically ages you by 50 years. So
it is. Mike did refer to himself as a fuddy-duddy first, and so we just kind of ran with that.
I know Mike did it. That's why Mike is the most grandpa energy shit I've ever seen.
Definitely true.
His like family members, when he's old, they're gonna be like, "Grandpa, tell a story," and he's gonna be like, "There was a mouse named Mickey." Like it's this fucking Vietnam War style recounting of Mickey Mouse's adventures.
And he loves it. He loves it when everyone says his opinions are boomer takes and everything. So everyone should definitely carry on with that for sure. All right. He says that he's still catching strays. I think these are directly aimed at you. Actually, these are not strays.
This is a sniper rifle pointed directly at Mike Minotti's forehead. That's how I operate. Okay.
Anyway, Switch 2 Joy-Con features, they're real. Let's move on. GTA 6 publisher fully expects to support Switch 2 going forward. This is from Jordan Miller at VGC. This is another thing out of that Take-Two earnings report. Civ 6 did do very well on Switch. They're launching Civ 7 on Switch. It'll work on Switch 2. So, like, they're definitely talking about stuff like that. Do you expect anything beyond that?
My sweet summer child, I know that you thought, oh, they're going to support Civ on this. No. They're getting ready for the age of Wii slop returning.
Yeah.
They're going to put out, like, every rubbish, like, compilation of movable, motion-controlled games again. That's what we're getting.
Right. This doesn't mean like the Borderlands 4. They're probably not thinking like we got to get that on Switch 2 necessarily, right?
I don't think so. I mean, like, I'm sure they will because isn't like the leaked specs of it like it's a little beefier than
it's like
we would have
between
expected.
a PS4 and a PS4 Pro. We'll see. With the tech features on top of that, might be better.
Yeah. So maybe like they're able to put some games on there, but I think like the only thing that these gimmicks really do is create a short period of time where everyone tries to make these gimmicks work. Because they remember what it was like with the Wii and the deep well of money they generated by just making ping pong and clean this glass game. I mean, it's like weird shit like that. So
yeah, I mean, they let's see here. They released the WWE games, the NBA 2K, and that stuff they don't like super support on Switch, but they do it every year, so they must sell enough. I think you're right, where it's like when they're talking about Switch 2 and its future, they're probably they'll continue doing that stuff as like a gesture, and then it'll be like, hey, how else can we reach this specific audience and not put a lot of money into it? Just like Nintendo does, only realizing Nintendo also puts a lot of effort into it while not spending a ton of money. All right. One of Nintendo's weirder games is coming to Switch Online this month. This is from Evan Campbell at GameSpot, or as I wrote here, GameSpoot. Just in time for Valentine's Day, Nintendo is dropping Wario Land 4 on Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack on February 14th. The weird Game Boy Advance platformer sees the gassy anti-hero turning into Zombie Wario and Bouncy Wario, just a couple of the transformations he's capable of. This is a really good Game Boy Advance platformer. I love Wario Land games. This is it is a weird one. It's got a lot of fun ideas in it from 2001. And hey, now it's going to be available later next week on Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack.
That's a good platformer.
Yep. I like all the Wario Land games, and there's a lot of differences between, I guess, like 1 versus 2 and 3 are pretty similar, and then 4's got some new ideas as well. And 4 is like the one, like the Anton Blast seems to be even the most inspired by these days. All right. Smite 2 dev lays off staff, apparently ends work on 3 games, including Smite 1. This is from George Yang at GameSpot. Smite 2 developer Hi-Rez has apparently laid off 50 to 60 employees and stopped development on 3 games, Rogue Company, Paladins, and Smite 1. Several now former employees of Hi-Rez took to social media saying that they had been laid off, and the layoffs look like they impact a variety of departments from designers, QA, marketing, and social media. A Twitter user posted a message, presumably from Hi-Rez CEO Stuart Chazam, that stated that the reduction impacted the Rally Here, Evil Mojo, and Titan Forge game divisions. Additionally, Rogue Company, Paladins, and Smite 1 will no longer receive major updates, but the servers will remain up for the foreseeable future. Smite 2 is currently in early access and looks to be Hi-Rez's sole focus going forward. The aforementioned message also stated that the reductions are meant to enable a steady flow of new content for Smite 2. Yeah, this is one of those developers that I was always like, man, they have a lot more games than I always remember. It's like, yeah, they're the Smite team. And it's like, well, then they made Paladins, which is like the first kind of Overwatch clone that really popped off. And then they went to Smite 2. And then in between that, they had that Rogue Company game, which was that online shooter that launched on a bunch of stuff, including Switch. I think they've already stopped working on the Switch version a long time ago. So the fact that they've had to like reduce the focus on just Smite 2 isn't too surprising, because it does feel like the time for like Paladins and Rogue Company has come and gone. But I don't know. Do you think a studio like this working on something like Smite can make things make sense? Because it feels like, man, they are really just trying to keep these things together.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it can make sense, but perhaps not operating at the scale that they have been for a really long time.
Yeah.
I forgot about Smite, if I'm being honest. Obviously, like, people losing their jobs sucks.
Yep.
But yeah, it's hard to say whether. I mean, like, even the most like well supported and resourced devs are struggling right now. So a studio like this, like Hi-Rez, is probably going through it a bit more than most. But yeah, I feel like it's sad to see people losing their jobs, but sometimes like these companies, unless they're being shitty, they try and kind of like focus it to make sure that they can, have some sort of sustainability. But yeah, I don't know, man. This sucks.
Yeah, 50 to 60 employees. It's that is just devastating to see, as always. Having several games all kind of sunset at the same time. That's clearly they were trying to keep these projects up and going. Like, that's the only reason that this is all happening at the same time, is because they were just trying to brute force their way through this and keep all those projects going and support it, because they definitely still have players. I think Smite 1 still has probably a decent player base. Not like anything massive, but I know that's like one of the MOBAs that people are still into. We'll see if they're able to pull the nose up with Smite 2, but it's just such a different environment. It's not like they're going to be able to go find investors to, smooth things over, because no one's investing in games right now, especially at this scale. So
no,
we'll see how it goes from there. All right. Last headline, and then maybe we'll do a couple of Grub Snacks questions to end out the week. Football Manager 25 canceled after multiple delays. Dev moves on to the next game. This is from George Yang at GameSpot as well. Sports Interactive and Sega have announced that Football Manager 25 is canceled, and the developer will instead focus on their next release. The developer provided a lengthy explanation as to why Football Manager 25 was canceled. While many of the game's areas hit the developer's internal targets, the overarching player experience and interface weren't up to its standards. Through evaluations and playtesting, the development team was confident in a new direction, but the desired standards were ultimately still too far away. However, the team will take their learnings onto the next project. Basically, they're just going to skip right over and start working on Football Manager 26. This is the first time they haven't put out a Football Manager in a year in 32 years. That's you always gonna be like, oh man, there's no way that they were hoping that this would happen. They were trying to avoid this as well. But this
British
kind of
people in absolute shambles right now.
Yep, exactly. Have you talked to your family? Have you checked in on them? Is everyone all right?
I cannot get through to anyone.
Yeah,
I assume it's like it's just like everything's on fire. It's like 28 days later over there.
I mean, hopefully they are able to just get the next one, get everything improved and ready to go. But it didn't work for, what was the NBA game, NBA Live that EA had, where they were like skipping them, and it's like they never could get those together. Although I hope this isn't quite as much of a mess as that. NBA Elite, yeah.
I think there's enough of an incentive to keep making these games. Aren't going away. They make a absurd amount of money,
right?
And also, last time I checked, I don't regularly keep up. Football Manager as a game is pretty integrated into the actual real industry of football. So, like, a lot of coaches and assistant coaches will run sims using Football Manager to kind of figure things out. And I don't know, like, it's a important part of the actual sport in a lot of ways. So I think it's got some longevity because of that. But yeah, we ain't seen. This is not the last. We haven't seen the last of Football Manager. I can assure you of that.
I think that's right. And I think that also does it for the headlines. We have a little bit extra time, so I've opened up the field for questions from the audience. Hey, if you have something, there's an ask a question button there at the top. If you're in Twitch chat, we'll check in on that as well. Just, add us.
Ask us anything.
Ask us anything. Let's start here with God Sewa. I believe Nikki from chat says, why does my back hurt? Tam, do you have an answer?
Oh, why does my back? It could be your posture.
Yep.
So just double check your posture. Make sure you're sitting on a good chair. Good chair can mean many things. You make sure you have lumbar support. You need a little bit of that. You don't want to be sitting on like just a wooden, dining chair or whatever it may be. That's important. You may need to take some vitamins to kind of strengthen the old bones. And also, you might just be old as hell, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
happens.
It happens to everybody eventually. Also, the phone, when you hold it like this, it's like, the further away from your face it is, the more, it's like the ladies always talk about, like bad back pains and stuff like that because they have to carry stuff out in front of their bodies. That is the same thing when you're holding a phone. It's going to hurt your back. Yeah. So maybe try to bring it in or put it down every once in a while. I don't know. Get off your phone, you damn kid.
Go to the gym and work out your back.
Yeah, already don't use the phone. Well, Nikki, then God hates you? Have you considered that? That's a possibility as well. All right, let's see. Someone from the Twitch chat asks, have you played Mai in Street Fighter 6? I have not yet.
That's between me and Mai.
Perfect. Niluk asks, where is the Fire Emblem remake? On a shelf somewhere, completely finished for more than a year now. A lot longer than a year now. Nintendo, at this point, I'm assuming, is just saving it for Switch 2, just like to plug in a development gap over there at some point, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense to release that, I think, at the very end of the Switch 1. But who knows? Maybe this Direct that they're going to have, if they're going to have one this month, actually is going to be like, okay, and Fire Emblem Remake is the last thing that will come out on the Switch. I guess it's possible. All right, let's see here. Dodge Edel. This one's for you, Tam. Eagles or cheap better?
I like Eagles. Eagles are pretty cool.
Yeah, Eagles are pretty dope. I like calling people chief though. That's a good move.
Yeah. I don't really call people chief. I like boss.
Well, you're not an elderly gentleman like myself. It's like it really falls into place as you get to be like 42, 43, 67.
Was that an American Egg Bowl question?
Yes. The Super Bowl matchup is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So yes, Taylor Swift is in the Super Bowl again.
Which one is she supporting?
She supports the Kansas City Chiefs and her boyfriend.
Okay,
definitely
Travis
Eagles. Kelsey.
Definitely 100% Eagles.
Man, you the Sonic fans, the Taylor Swift fans. I would just be careful, Tam.
Everyone needs to relax about Taylor Swift, okay?
This one's also for you from Slay McAwesome. It says, Grubb, what's your fucking deal?
That's a good question.
What's my deal, Tam?
Like get buy one, get one free. I think it's probably your favorite deal.
That's pretty good. Toy Soda, Wonder Woman Telltale game with the Lasso of Truth. Sure, that style game could definitely work.
It's LA Noir, but with the Lasso of Truth.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, this is a speedrun game.
Okay, Ali Miracle asks, Tam, how's the workout process going? Looking fly. I see. Okay.
Oh, thank you. It's going well. I have been working out pretty much 6 days a week, alternating between weights and cardio, and then just cardio days. I also try and go and play basketball on a court for a bit. Minimum burning about 1,300 calories a day. So yeah, just trying to keep it in consistent. I also have been seeing a personal trainer every now and then. Checking in with nutritionists that I know to be like, hey, can I have this or no? But yeah, I've been doing my best. I'm trying not to die. I got diabetes, so.
Yep. Dude, I think you're doing great. I think you're doing awesome. Every Instagram photo I see of you in the gym, I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. So good work, Tam.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Jan asks, how does Tam feel about Jimmy Butler?
Oh boy, how much time do we have? First of all, Katie, you could have come home. You had to
No
be a little
interest.
baby
He had no
about
interest.
it. Grow up, just come home, win a chip, and then go away. You know what I'm saying? I'm extremely sad that we lost Andrew Wiggins in this trade. Andrew Wiggins, I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple times. Just the nicest human being you'll ever meet. Like when he smiles, it like melts your heart. You're like, this guy is so nice. He had a rough time last year with the unfortunate sickness and passing of his father. He got a lot of shit for his lack of play that season, but it's understandable. But we are playing atrociously right now. We cannot hold on to a lead. We keep losing games in the final quarter. The fire is gone. Every NBA team just triples or doubles Steph Curry, and that is it. That's the end of it. He hasn't had a comfortable shot in like 30 games at this point. So getting Jimmy Butler in, I think if we get Jimmy Butler who's locked in, we have a
You'll
real
get him locked in
chance.
for this season, right? Yeah.
I think I'm hoping this season and next season.
Right.
The thing that is exciting is like he committed to 2 years.
Right.
So he's on 2 years, technically remaining. Steph's on 2 years. Draymond's on 2 years. And I think Kerr is on a year. So that is a bunch of people that are motivated to
want to make it happen now.
Make an impact now. And Jimmy is Jimmy. Like, he's incredible. Playoff Jimmy's legendary. So if we can get to the playoffs, that would be fantastic. At this point, it's not looking like we'll even make the play-ins. But yeah, I'm very aware of the fact that Jimmy gets upset, and when Jimmy gets upset, he starts acting out.
Jimmy's getting upset.
Yep, Jimmy was getting upset, and he got upset at the Miami Heat, and now he's on the Warriors. So, but he's a good player. He's a fantastic player. So he is I would say, like, his ability to read the court is pretty genius. So I'm hoping that he comes in and is like lights a fire under a few asses. He's got the same energy as Draymond. So my only concern is, like, will they come to blows, or will the locker room culture change in any meaningful way? But I don't know. He was brought on by a former teammate, which is crazy. Mike Dunleavy played with him, and now like brought him onto the team. He's mad.
Yeah, man. Sports are weird. Red Wings won 7 games in a row for the second time in a month, basically. So I'm doing pretty good.
Nice.
Let's see. And someone asks, are the Oilers going all the way this year? I really think so. So yeah, shout out to
I mean, naming yourself Oilers, man. Grow up.
That's like the one thing they had in Edmonton, man, back then.
Oil.
Yeah, oil. That's it. Okay, and then let's do this last one from Dougman. What are you guys excited about at GB for the year? We had some things in the works, as always. I think there's like excitement. We're going to try to like do things that kind of force everybody to work together even more, which I think will only be a positive, right?
There's things happening now that are going to be very unexpected for a lot of people, but I think will also be things that will make a lot of sense to especially the folks that like Giant Bomb. And yeah, it should it's a little bit of experimentation, a little bit of like reading the room, and a little bit of looking around us to see what other people are doing and trying to put it together into something that's a little more exciting. And we're going to ramp up and hopefully grow it from there. And yeah, that'll be it.
If you like this show,
everyone, we're creating a pickleball league. Yes.
Man, we probably should.
I definitely think that we should. I have been thinking about GB Sports for a really long time, where we just play a series of different sports and see what the hell happens.
Yep. That would be fantastic. AcidNet, is GB ever going to do anything in New Jersey? Not allowed back there anymore. All right. Poll question is, let's see, this one's from yesterday. What do you want most from a new Castlevania? A new 2D Castlevania or a new 3D AAA blockbuster? And 67% said they want a new 2D Castlevania. Now, I think part of that is that's the thing you trust the most. So, like, that's the thing that you think they can actually deliver and, like, do right by Castlevania. But I mean, I think a Castlevania Soulsborne game could work from Konami even.
It's not going to work.
I think it could work.
No one.
What would you know, Tam?
About Soulsborne games?
Yeah, about
Nothing.
Soulsborne games.
Nothing. I feel like the 2D approach is the smart starting point before going into
Yeah, sure.
the 3D one again. Mercury Steam. I'm playing all the Castlevania games currently simultaneously. It seems I'm playing like Portrait of Ruin.
Oh yeah.
On my Ambinic device, and I'm also playing. I think Aria of Sorrow. I'm playing on the collection on Switch, which is. Those games are good, man.
They're so good.
I'm doing that. I'm playing what I think of as a Nuzlocke run of Castlevania, where every time I encounter a new enemy, I'm not allowed to progress until I get that enemy's soul.
Oh, sure.
Which is it tests your patience. Let's just say that. Like people just going back and forth in between rooms to respawn them and killing them and trying to get.
Right, because it's a random drop for people who don't know.
Yeah. But I was thinking about actually streaming it because it's driving me so mad.
I think people would love to see you go insane with that.
Going back and forth and get, where is this fucking thing?
Yeah, people love that to watch streamers like torture themselves.
Dominus Collection is on PC, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Dominus I think
Collection. Yeah, maybe I'll stream that.
That would be excellent. All right, let's see here. New poll question, or actually, before we get to new poll question, Tam, what do you have going on? Where can people find you on the internet? All that good stuff.
You can find me at Tamoor H everywhere. Twitch, the horrifying Elon Musk platform, which I try to use as little as possible. I'm TamoorH.com on Blue Sky, which I try and use more. Instagram, please follow me there. I'm trying to do some sneaky shit with. Don't worry about it. Just follow me. Just everyone follow me. I need to pump up those numbers for reasons that are important to my life. But yeah, we got going on. What is my TikTok? Demolition Tam. We have UPF today. Do we have a?
Yeah, we're gonna do a Monster Hunter on UPF today. We're gonna do the beta.
Power Bombcast is happening, right?
Power Bombcast is happening. Yes.
Because iShow Speed got fucking destroyed at the.
That's right. It was a beautiful thing.
I really like iShow Speed.
Oh, yeah.
I know when I initially started looking at watching iShow Speed, he seemed like a really annoying one of those people. But it seems like he's kind of mellowed out and become a more entertaining and well balanced person. He's
I agree.
He's a good lad. And we're seeing him just get wrecked on stage in the Royal Rumble was very funny.
All right, new poll question. Take-Two said GTA 6 is still coming this fall. Do you think it will launch in that window? Yes or no? We'll get the results of that on Game S Mornings on Giant Bomb on Monday. Speaking of Giant Bomb, as Tam pointed out, we'll have a Power Bombcast happening. We will have a UPF happening. I'm going to go get Monster Hunter working right now. Actually, I might go play this game called A Game About Digging a Hole, which I have no idea what it's about. So I'm going to go download it now and find out for myself.
Dan, don't stream Snatcher. That's...
Stream...
You know that's a big reading game, right? I hope you know that.
Don't tell. I want him to play Snatcher.
It's a huge reading game,
but it's Kojima words. You know how Mike likes Disney fruit.
It is a Kojima joint, but
so Dan likes Kojima
game,
words.
But,
who was just saying they wanted to? I think Jan was saying he wants to play Police Knots. You guys are just in a mood right now.
Should we just do it like we should just turn this into a series. Call it the reading game series.
Yeah, reading Gamebo. Does that work?
Yeah.
Reading Gamebo.
Perfect. Reading Gamebo. There we
Jesus. Go. All right, let's get out of here. We need to start the weekend. Tamoor Hussain, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talk about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me as always. Will I see you next week?
You tell me.
Yes, I'll be here. I'll be here, baby.
Awesome. That sounds great. We'll do it again next week. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Wow.